This video's got it all. We've got match win live footage, results of the last 2 rounds of the Weston Pools Winter League. I was lying third at the time and I wanted to see if I can knock Jamie Hughes off his top spot and try and take the title. So if you want to see some match win live footage, results of the league, this video is for you. Keep watching because we're going to get stuck into it now and get fully in depth of what went on in the last 2 rounds of the Winter League. Now the first match we're going to catch up on was the 5th round of the league. Going into the league I had a third, I think 1 win and 2 seconds, so ideally I need to get 2 section wins to try and get up to the league. Now on the fourth round I made a mistake. I was a bit lackadaisy. I felt like I didn't have that, I don't know how to call it, like that killer edge of sort of like getting the job done, getting that section win over the line and just going for it. I was a bit lackadaisy, I just didn't. And I said I wasn't enjoying me. I said in my last vlog that I wasn't enjoying me fishing, but I think that was because I wasn't being aggressive enough. I wasn't like attacking my pegs enough and getting the results I wanted, but which it goes in fishing that way. So on to the 5th round of the league. Now it's a random draw every time in the league, so we've got 4 lakes in. So I've gone in the bag, 6 straight. Now I'm thinking, yeah, that'll be decent enough. It's going to be a good little area to catch some fish. It's nice. I've been on 8 before, and one of the rounds, and I felt like I was a little bit hemmed in, as where 6 is a little bit wider. It's about 16 metres there. So I've drew 6 on Stretton. I've got Kev Roderick on my left on 4, which is the M peg. I've got Jack, my good mate, next to me on peg 8, and then I've got James Garside, and I think it was, who was on? Yeah, James Garside was on peg 12, which can be really good if the fish want to be that end of the lake. But that arm in Stretton this year has been where a lot of the fish are caught now. Luckily, I've through that area. That's where I draw every single. I think it's come up. I think I drew it this time last year as well, and I fished a live match on my YouTube for it. So it comes up every single area. So that's a good thing I know about it. I know how to catch in that certain area, what to set up and stuff. So I just set up literally pellets across to the far bank, maggots at 30 metres up and down, so on the bottom and shallow, a short line on maggots. I didn't fish any of the edge because I didn't feel that was going to come into play. So I've set them up, and I've got a bit of live match footage for you where I've talked you through. So what I'm going to do is let you roll on with that now, and you'll see how I went about trying to win the match and trying to get that section win, which is the most important thing of the match. Right, you join us with just over an hour and 20 gone, and the fishing is really, really good, to be honest. I'm just catching on pellets just off the far bank, just tapping in some 3 mils with a little 4mm expander on the hook. The fishing is really good, as you can see. Getting some really quick bites. So I wouldn't say they're small stamp, they're not the biggest, but one thing about this area is that's the sort of stamp you need to catch. So I think I've typical, I just started the video and now the rain comes. But yeah, the stamp of the fish in this peg, you just got to try and catch as many as you can, because obviously they're like a pound and a bit each, so little carp just on pellets, but you can't complain when you can catch them that quick. Now, get on the net. One thing I will say is I need this is really good at the minute, but I do need to catch on maggots to do any good. I think in the section everyone's getting some bites. It's fishing a lot better today compared to how it has been, just because it obviously warmed up such an amount. But I thought it'd be nice just to come on, show how we're catching. Just fishing across there on soft pellets. So I did start a little bit further close to the bank, but I just got linered and I did catch him, but just a little bit of a nightmare, and had to ship him a 16 metre piece on. So what I've done is I just come back probably to just 14 and a half with my dolly butt on. It was only like 3 inches different, so it took a little while to get the fish to come to me where I was feeding, which is understandable because obviously I'd moved lines, but now getting a lot more cleaner bites just away from the bank, which is interesting. I've always gone dead close to the bank when I've done this. There's a little dink there. You can see it's getting a nice little rhythm now, just nicely. Having to feed a little bit of bait, so like 15 to 20 pellets every time, just sprinkle it in. But you can see you're just catching mixed sizes, so you catch one a pound and a bit, and then you catch one just under a pound. But it's just about putting them in the net, trying to make the most of the fish that are feeding. But also I'm still feeding. It's a little carp, probably about 10 or 12 ounce. Ow! Hooks my finger. I'm still feeding them other lines. I'm feeding them a short line with maggots. I'm loose feeding the 30 metre line as well. Because I feel if the fishing gets good today, I would maybe catch shallow on it, which I feel like I'm going to need to do that if I can get it, do any good in the section. Got Kev on the end. He's had a carp, big carp down the edge. I've got James Garside who's on 12, who's more in, sort of more in the lake. But it's a different section, but obviously you can't dwell on pegs. Tap rattling baiting. Just got to try and catch what you can out of your peg, and hopefully it's enough. So just rattle my bait in. I've got a 4x16 F1 pellet on, nice and positive. Shot dead close to the hook length, 4-inch hook length. O11 and SFL. Cut down pre-tied in 4-inch. The reason why I've gone on that and I've not used an XFS is just I could catch an odd carp here if I'm lucky. Well, that's a bite straight away again. So that's how it's going in a minute. Dead simple, but I'm just trying to keep plodding and keep putting fish in the net, keeping my lines fed, because I feel like I'm going to need them maggot lines to come good to really, really push on, but I need that section win today. So just keep catching. I just thought it'd be nice just to show a bit of fishing, getting some bites, which is a nice thing. Set myself a little target to try and get 30 fish before halfway through the match, and then if I can start to get bites on maggots then halfway through the match, then I could probably catch, I feel like 30 fish will go 35 to 40 pounds, but I have 2.5 hours on maggots and it can be good. I could easily catch another 35 to 40 pounds, so maybe looking at like 70 to 80 pounds today. But I feel like it might be a little bit more to win the section, just depends how well the lake's fishing. Obviously I'm down the arm, which is a little bit different. You can't really see the open lake, but has been fishing really well. Stretton's had like 90 pounds, 60 pounds regular. That's perfect, that is. You can't catch quicker than that. So like textbook, that's where like all of a sudden, that's where your rig becomes so important, because you're waiting for like a 4x10 to faff around and go down to the bottom when the fish are feeding. That 4-inch hook length, a little bit heavier float, nice positive shot. You see how fast you can catch, and especially when the fish are a little bit smaller than what they're not smaller than what you expect, because I knew how to catch them, but when you need to catch a lot of fish, as where Kev next to me has just netted one. It's probably like 3.5 pounds. So that's what I mean. It's a different sort of fish, but I've just got to keep putting them in the net, keep trying to catch them. Just got a little sprinkle lid on, just putting some soaked 3 mils in my pot, just through the hatch. Obviously, because the fishing's so good, I'm getting one feed. I could change my pot, but just because a little hatch on the top just allows me. I'm going to feed that maggot line while I'm there. Just allows me to ship out a little bit faster. As you've seen there, I did bounce my bait, but because I got that lid on, it's not bounced everything out. And when you have to feed, you have to really rattle your pellets out. But feed my bait, get my rig right on top of that, Now it's been that good at some points when I've had fish in the peg, is when I'm lowering the rig down. Obviously the fish take it as I'm lowering it down. Like that. Ooh. Nearly talked a perfect bite on. But best thing about this rig is when it wobbles round, and then all of a sudden you see all your shot line up and it just goes solid still. That's where you're not wasting time waiting for your rig to catch up. Obviously there's fish in the peg feeding. So you don't want to lay it over fish's backs, you just want to bomb it down to the bottom. Get it where you're fishing and keep catching them. But I'm going to keep plodding on. Keep my other lines fed, it's a bit bigger fish. And I'll come back hopefully when it's not raining. Typical, I've just sat there, thought like, it's a nice little part of the match to film now. Getting a few bites and something to talk about and work with. And then drizzle rain, I hope it's not affected the camera too much. But now, what kit I've got on here, it's got a long F1 kit with just 9's jaw slipping, just nice and soft, so I can land anything I can if it need to. Big carp, but like I said, that's a nice little carp, that one. It's a little bonus, that one. £1.50. So you see there, everything's adding up. Got 2 small fish and 2 bit bigger fish, so just keep putting them in there, and I'll plod along and I'll come back when, hopefully, we're getting 1 or chuck shallow on maggots and we've got loads of fish and we're doing really well. Right, we're just coming up to 90 minutes left, and what's happened is that pellets across is really good. I've probably caught, well, I've got 63 fish now, and I probably caught 58 of them on pellets. Now, what was happening was, like you seen on that clip before the rain come and spoiled it, I was just tapping in pellets really nice. Now, what happened was, literally I dropped on this loose feed line with like 2 and a bit hours to go, because I spoke to Jamie who's up there and he said James on 12's catching well in the edge. So I thought, right, if I can catch shallow, I feel I can get enough to the end. There we go, that's fine. But I never really caught on it. I had a lot of liners and I felt it just a little bit too early just to drop on it. So what I did, I went back across, caught, as it sounds mad, caught another like 18 on pellets, so got myself to 60 fish, and then I've just dropped on it then. And I've just caught 3 big F1s shallow, like 2 foot deep, quite high up as well, on this side. So that's a good sign with an hour and a half left. Getting some bites loose feeding. Now, one thing I have done as well is I brought my short line a section shorter. So what I mean by that is I've took a section, replumbed it up, and I'm just fishing it a little bit shorter, just because I feel like the fishing's good. I don't really want the fish to come off the bottom a little bit further out. I want to try and focus on catching them off the bottom out there. And I've just got a nice little 4x8 rig. Spread out shot down the line. Now when I've had my F1s, it's been like hanging it. Not like on the drop, just leaving it like that. Lift and drop. Just mimic that bait falling back through the water. See that there, straight away. I did have some F1s that just got some eye, but I don't mind because they are a good size. But I had so many bites today. It's scary, really. But just shows the fish are waking up now. Keep that little short line fed while I'm just playing this fish. And you can't moan it then, they're a good size. What a terrible bit in there, that was. They're a good size fish then. Now, one thing I can do is I can drop to different depths. So I've got depths from like this 2 foot all the way up to 4 foot covered. Probably go a little bit deeper on my 4 foot rig if I needed to, but one thing I didn't want to happen is if I'm going to drop on a short line, I feel like this line's going to be good enough now to try and catch on it to the end. This is what decisions you want to make when you fish it. So this is going to be hopefully good enough. Obviously I might catch on the bottom if I need to, but hopefully just keep catching shallow. But I just put it a little bit shorter. That's a bite there. See that there? Little lift and drop. You just got to imagine them fish coming through every time. Just this is a sign of good things to come. Now my rig's just got a nice 4x8 F1 shallow. 4 number 11s down the line. And then I've got a 4-inch hook length of 010 and an XFS, just so it's nice and light. Putting these massive maggots from lanes on, not like they've been pumped with water, they're massive. And just ever so slowly just getting back out there. Now, one thing that's important is flick your rig past, keep everything tight, because obviously if you do get a bite on the drop, a lot of the time the fish can hook themselves, especially with hide fishing. More so your F1s, unless they're being really aggressive. You catch them a lot when you just linger your bait there. Remember, just don't keep it static for too long, but if you're at the right depth, it doesn't take long before you get a quick bite. Now I've just gone in on this rig through my shallowest rig, because what happened was I seen a swirl. It probably was an hide. I seen a swirl when I fed like half an hour ago. Not seen loads, not been swirling, but I've seen a swirl. So what I decided to do is just literally start at my shallowest point. If I do feel like I need to drop down a little bit deeper, I can do. But I don't want to get in that conveyor belt sort of feeding. I want to give them a pause and give them a chance to come up and eat the bait. There you go. Let's see if I can start catching F1s shallow like that. It's the importance of a nice light rig, that you just suck it in and swim off. Ooh. But yeah, we're having an amazing day. The ones I've caught as well in this should have been a little bit bigger as well. But keep them lines fed. Obviously I don't want to go across on pellets now, because I feel like just that I can catch a lot quicker and the fish are a little bit bigger, shallower. So that's what I need. I think I need a run of these things, which is fantastic. This is one thing I love about Weston. It just get the shots moved a little bit, get loads of bites. Just side hooking a single maggot, they're massive ones. Just side hooking one of them straight out into my pole, end of my pole, flip my rig out, straight on the catapult. I'm not feeding too heavy. Probably it looks quite a lot on camera, but it's not. It's probably like 10 to 15 twice. That was rubbish, but the wind caught that. Not going to feed yet. Just let my rig flutter down. I do feel like it's getting an indication. I will just lift at everything. You'd be surprised how you think just because the fish are feeding shallow, you think they just give you a right wallop of an indication, but they don't. Sometimes they can just give you a little nick, and sometimes it's them big things, which I've just seen it all before. A little bit wary of fishing of your rig. It's loose feed again. Keeping that pole nice and still. And one thing you don't want to do, if you do think you're fishing a bit too shallow, you don't want to just sit there and just hope you get one. I'm thinking now, if this keeps like, obviously it's not slow, but if it slows down a little bit and I'm waiting longer periods to catch one, it takes time, I will just drop a little bit deeper. Just gives me the chance of it falling through the peg as well. Obviously catching any fish on the drop style, and gives you a few indications where you can see what's going on in your peg. As where if you just sit there and get the odd bite, like I haven't really missed many bites, which says to me I'm probably at the right depth, but I'll probably last a bit long. Probably at the right depth, but I could, if I went a bit deeper, I would get a lot more signs. So probably been lucky dropping on the right depth to start with. But that was my only worry about. I wanted to get to like 80 fish I wanted to get to ideally. My only worry was if the maggots didn't kick in, but obviously, as you can see, it has. And we're getting a lot of bites. Just put a normal one on. Side hook it ever so slightly. Keep that short line then. And always if we need to rest it, drop on that, have a little look. But normally what you find on this lake is big fish normally sit a little bit shorter. That carrying was terrible. What you found as well, that little lift and drop, lay your float sideways, let it all arc over again. You'd be surprised that get a little sign indication off that every single time. And because my rig's so light, you've got to give it a chance to get to the area. No point thinking, right, I haven't had a bite now. I will work my rig, so as soon as I feel like my rig's settled a little bit, give it a little lift and drop. Not jigging it around too much, but sometimes just feeding over the top can just attract one to yours. Just draw one onto your hook. But yeah, it's going okay at the minute. I think James is catching, but I can't see him, so I don't know. It's only what Jamie was saying when I spoke to him on the phone. He said he was catching really well, but the thing is, if you catch him just as well, just got to fish your own peg, like I said on the other clip. But yeah, we're having a mint little run shallow, which is mad. First of March, out come the shallow rigs. Great fishing here at Weston. Obviously a lot bigger stamp as well, these fish, which is what you want. But yeah, that first clip when I filmed, obviously caught. That's a bigger one. They're the ones we want. Catch 20 of them late. Have a right weight. But he's had that as well. Yeah, they're the chaps we want. Don't know where those all gone. And the hook's gone there. Oh, there you are. Wrapped around its fin. Wrapped around its mouth, sorry. There you go. Right, so. Click him. Yeah, we'll try and get one more. Just see what depth that actually is. I didn't actually check. 2 foot deep. Just going to try it a little bit shallower. Make sure my shot's in position. Put some nice big maggots on. Obviously get that line fed. Feed that short line whenever. Try a little bit shallower. Probably move that just under 2 foot now. Now one thing I don't want to do is slap my rig in. I want to just try and flick it or lay it on the surface. I don't want to slap it over dead hard. I don't want to spook them fish which are sat high up. I just want to try and lay my maggot in, try and trick them to see if mine can just be amongst theirs and just grab hold of it. That's what I'm trying to achieve. Yeah, that's a highly bite, that one. So yeah, I'm going to plod on, keep trying to catch these fish. Hopefully we can get to a 80 fish target, but I'm going to need a few more shallow to see how we can get on. So I'm going to plod on and I'll come back with the end, the conclusion, or if something changes or we catch short or something. As you see in the match is absolutely solid with fish. We caught across on pellets and then we caught shallow on maggots later on. I had a mega day's fishing there. I caught £112, which won the match. So we got that section when we needed. Nice match win, nice little pickup as well. So a nice little confidence booster going into the last round, which was the week after. So going on to that last round, I'll talk about it now because it's easier. When I in the bag, I'll just hang around back like I do. Went in the bag, 8 straight, and I thought, I was there last week. I knew Jack was on it. He struggled. He had £45. I thought, just depends who's drawn. Say 4, 6, 12. But I just felt like I cut Jack off last week. As where like the week before, I've had a nice match on 6 where I've looked to catch like across and down the middle. But I think it's helped me because Kev is like focused on trying to catch in the edge because obviously he's got a bit of room. But I feel like if there's a good angler and stuff on 4 and 6, they'd just take all the fish off you and you wouldn't get your runs. So I've drew my peg, a little bit disheartened if I'm honest, because I felt like everyone wants a nice easy section peg when you draw, but a little bit disheartened. Gone to write my name on the sheet, and as I'm walking there, James, I was holding peg 4, like what would that be like? I'm thinking, God, that's a challenger to try and beat James, or hopefully second will be enough to try and hold on to a lead sort of thing, or if I can. Turn round, Christian's drawn peg 6, so there's in the line, there's James Howarth on peg 4, Christian Jones on peg 6, me on peg 8. I think I had Carl Webster as well on peg 10, Mark Hughes on peg 12. So it's like, Mark's a regular at Weston, Carl's not stupid, he can catch some fish there. So I was thinking, blooming hell, this is the right section this. So I've gone to my peg. Luckily, when I drew it, I've drew it before in a festival, that peg 8, so I know where to fish sort of things. So they're like, I know where to fish, I know what to set up, I'm not going to sort of waste any time. The one thing I did take this week was ground bait, just because I felt like I might need to catch some in the edge if I need to. But it's ever so narrow, but you'll see in a bit when I talk about it what I mean by that. Now, what I mean by where to fish in my peg is because it's quite narrow there. It's only probably about 15, 16 metres wide, if that. And what I felt like I learned the week before of coming away from that far bank's really important. Now, luckily, this peg has got like a nice little hump. I don't know why, it comes up shallow. It comes up shallower to the left sort of thing. So I've plumbed up that on 14 metres with pellets. I've plumbed up a 13 metre line to my right, just where it's nice and flat before the aerator tapers off and goes a bit deeper. A short maggot line and an edge line, probably 6 metres just before the pallet. Now, I'm sort of like, the only thing I was confident of is I sort of like knew what match it was going to be, if that makes sense. So I knew that like them pellet fish are really important early. That's where I know where Chris and James, they'll want to, because they're not trying to, I don't think Chris could do very well in the league. James was filling in for someone, so they're going to attack it, they're going to go for it, they're going to go shallow. And as I found the week before, I only caught like shallow last 90 minutes, so I thought, right, if I just get my head down and try and catch as many fish as I can on that pellet line, like I did the week before, and then hopefully my maggot lines will come good if the fish start feeding, because of Weston, that lake was fishing really well. So I've started a nice little start on pellets, as you can see. I put just sipping in and out, catching on pellets, like just tapping in probably like 15 to 20 free mils with a foam expander on the hook. Now, one thing I did do with this is I actually just cut down an F1 fine in 4/16. So a really light, thin bristle, but to be honest, probably half my fish never even pulled the float under. It's that like that. They're that cute at picking up them pellets and stuff, especially on Stretton and stuff where they're a little bit smaller. They don't swim off or suck it in with a bit of vengeance. So I've caught across on pellets like that. Probably caught 30 fish halfway through. I wouldn't say I was behind. I wasn't in front. That's the main thing of James and Chris. They sacked off their pellet lines quite early and committed to maggots quite quickly. But what this brought is they caught a few eyed. They caught a few smaller silverfish, but that's ticking them over as well. So I just thought, right, I've dropped on my maggot line. I caught an odd F1 on that. I was on my 13 metre and my maggot line, so like I'm 40 metres to my left, 30 metres to that. And I thought just halfway through, I've dropped in on my short maggot line, like I've found before when I've been on the festivals the week before, just feeding little bits of bait, like 10s twice short. You can't feed a lot of bait for some reason. You just foul looking and stuff. Maybe it's the size of the fish, or just they don't want a lot of bait at that time on the bottom where it is a bit silty. And I've caught there, and I dropped in the edge and caught one there, and I thought, right, well, if I can catch on my short lines, that's where I need to try and win. So I've like gambled a little bit. I've caught a few fish on them. Now, one thing I did do is I dropped back on my edge line with probably, I don't know, maybe 90 minutes, and I've foul hooked a few fish, and I'm getting a few signs it's moving. I thought, you know what? I know exactly what was going to happen here, and I thought, I'm not putting any fish in the net when I'm fishing that. It's just making it difficult to catch them. It's hard, so I just literally brought it back to a top kit, plumbed up next to my pallet on the top kit, fed some bait there, gone back short, caught a few fish on that short pole, and then I've had a little look on that top kit line, and I've nailed like 3 or 4 big fish, and I just thought, you know what, I should have done that earlier. I should have just been a bit more positive and committed to that and trying to catch some fish. So I think I ended up with like, might have had 50 fish, 50 odd fish. I weighed 89 pounds, so Christian had 98 pounds, and then James has won the match with 114, I want to say. So he's won the match on there. Christian's had 98 pounds and I've had 89 pounds. Carl had 70 pounds or 80 pounds next to me, and then I think the weights went down just by 10 pounds at each peg. So there's definitely a lot more fish up the arm. Bit unlucky the anglers that drew there, but there is a good standard on that league, so you can't moan at that. You can't get away with what sort of like to fish in there. So ended up with a third, so that's going to be in my counter. So what happened is, ended up with a third, so I've had to put it in my thing. So I think I ended up with like 12 points, but you could drop a result. So I've ended up with 9 points, and I was last in the money, so I was 5th overall. But looking back, that day that Jamie beat by £1, that's cost me probably 3rd in the league, I think, because Dave Coulson was 3rd. So the league ended up with Jamie's won the league, 6 wins, ridiculous, like really hard to do over time. The fishing changed a lot over the rounds, but he's ended up with 6 points. Pazza was 2nd, so he's had a really good league, to be honest. Been nice and steady, nice and consistent. I think he's only been 1st and 2nd, so really consistent, deserved to be 2nd. Bit unlucky not to win, to have someone like Jamie fishing that just took the mick, basically. 3rd was Dave Coulson. He had a better dropper than, I think, 4th for Steve Omshaw, and I ended up 5th. So not a little bad result, nice little pickup as well, just because Phil pays out really well. But looking back and being truthful on my league, I left a lot of fish in, a lot of pegs, just by being lazy, not being able to get on the bank as much as I used to in years to come. That's one thing that I've found as well. You're not as confident in making decisions, you're not as quick, but that's one thing you can't I can't really moan about. That's life, that's what happens. But that's the one thing I was a bit critical of myself. I didn't really put the effort and time, and I was leaving my gear in the van for like 2 weeks, or I put my gear in the garage and then just not looking at it and just putting it in the van, going fishing. I wasn't really like I've been in previous years, where I've been like proper on it, obviously I want to do well, but I really, really wanted to do well, put a bit of time and effort in, which sometimes it proves that if you don't do that, you do get found out and you do get caught out, and it sometimes just makes you think, right, because that little match, that Belvedere match, is like, I've never tried so hard the last 2 matches. I feel like I fished a better match when I come 3rd in my section than I did when I won the match, just because I knew what was going on. I've been in that little area, and I was actually I'm not saying I wasn't trying in the other rounds, but I was actually trying a little bit harder, concentrating, making sure I had the right things with my ground baits and stuff. Now, like I say, I just want to say a massive thanks to like Phil for running the league, because I do give him a lot of grief, just laughing and joking, bit of banter in the club. Like, would you believe he has the last peg in the bag and it's always a flyer? But he runs a brilliant league. He puts up with people not turning up, which for me, I'm not going to go on about it too much, but if you're having a bad league, so what? The fishing's brilliant. The end of the league, you can catch loads of fish. Don't spit your dummy out. Don't not go to the league. And it just makes it life harder for Phil, taking pegs out, people not turning up, him waiting for people to come. It's just, he puts up with a lot of rubbish, and he does it all for absolutely nothing, just because he enjoys going to Weston, and we all enjoy the league. So I just want to say a massive thanks to Phil, because he is probably, if he didn't run it, there wouldn't be one. So that's what I mean. It's like, massive thanks to him. It's a shame people let him down, but it's what it's like in life. So, and Debbie as well for running and weighing in, and everyone that weighs in. It makes it a nice little league. And if you do want to fish it, don't be, I know you got likes of Jamie Hughes and stuff fishing, and Christian and all the people like that, but it's such a friendly atmosphere league where everyone just has a bit of a laugh. There's nothing too serious. There's a bit of money to win. The money spread out as well. As every 5 pegs is 40 quid, I think it is, which is a good little thing if you're coming in. And there's a lot of people there you can learn off as well, and sort of thing. So if you're looking to it next year, just get on it, because it's a good little league, good little competition, nice little 6 matches. The fishing changes every round, so like the first couple of rounds dobbing was really important, then pellets has come into it, and then like maggot shallows come into it. It's like a lot of different variant methods. It's not just tapping bait, tapping 10 maggots in and just sitting there and waiting and catching 30 pound. There's a lot of different fish in Weston. It's amazing how all the eyed fed later on when it's warmed up, but they weren't really there when it was colder, so you've had to tailor your approach, and it just makes what I think match fishing, the most interesting thing about match fishing is tailoring your approach, catching the right fish and catching them. So yeah, 5th in the league. Couldn't beat Jamie Hughes, so I might write a book, try how to try and beat him. But yeah, ridiculous result, mate. That brilliant that was. But yeah, well done to him for winning the league. Cheers to Phil, and thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little vlog sort of series about it. I'm trying to win. We got a few different obviously clips of live match footage and stuff here, so hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to like the video, comment below as well what you ever want to see, what you might got, any questions you got. I see it a lot more easier to do on YouTube than I do on my normal social media, so that's one way. Get the comments in below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free. You don't need to pay nothing. Just hit that subscribe button. You'll see, turn on notifications. You'll see all my future videos. I've got a lot coming this year. A lot of match fishing, a lot of things I want to do and try and achieve and try and get on this channel. So if you don't want to miss them, hit the like button, and I'll see you on the next one.